Okay, I have another unprepared question for Caleb.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see how he handles it. Are you ready?
I think so. I mean, it's unprepared, so I'm not prepared.
Okay.
But okay, yeah.
Okay. So, what's up with you Americans and the guns?
Jesus.
Two, one, and zero, and liftoff of Space Shuttle Atlantis. Raise your name.
Christ. That's an unprepared question?
Just tell me your thoughts.
I think you want to get me shot, don't you?
I mean, like, why every American has a gun in their corner, in every corner of the
Okay.
house?
So, first, that's not true.
It's probably true for some Americans.
Exactly. Now, Americans have more guns per capita than any other country in the world.
Mm-hmm.
We essentially have one gun for every person.
Right.
So statistically, every American has a gun. But the vast majority of guns are owned by, like, I think it's something like 5% of the population.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a number of people who own like 20 guns each.
Okay.
And then that leaves lots and lots of Americans who don't own a gun. The majority of Americans do not own a gun.
Okay. It's good to know.
Yeah. That does not mean that we have the right amount of guns in the country.
What do
It
do you
depends very much on where you are.
problem?
Like
Yeah.
in a lot, let's say a lot of medium-sized cities, it's not really normal to have a gun.
Mm-hmm.
Now, out in the countryside and the small towns, it
Yeah.
could be quite normal to have a gun.
Mm-hmm.
Like lots of people go
Yeah.
hunting.
I thought
re-
like the houses with the gardens, not like the high.
Like the apartment
Skyscrapers,
buildings or
yeah,
things.
yeah.
Yeah, no. And most people who live in large cities won't have a gun.
Right.
Maybe if they live in a neighborhood with a lot of crime, then
Mhm.
they'll be motivated to get a gun for protection or something. Speaking of the small towns, like
Mhm.
most people having guns, one of my strongest moments of culture shock,
Mm-hmm.
and I've lived like in India, in Japan, in Africa, but one of my strongest memories of culture shock was being in Missouri, in the center of the country. And I was there for the week that all the schools closed for 1 week
Mm-hmm.
because it was the start of deer hunting season. And as a Californian, this was absolutely shocking. Like, this was amazing. But it was a part of their culture that the
Mhm.
school, because no one's going to come to school anyway. Everyone is out hunting deer. So it's such a big country that there are different cultures also
I see.
about the culture of guns
Mhm.
in different areas. Now, one more thing that I could say that's important to understand is how much guns are connected with our national identity, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
Somehow, owning a gun and being able to protect yourself and be independent has become part of being American for a certain type of American. And it might be a minority of Americans at this point, but it would be a very large minority of Americans who say owning a gun is part of being American. And in theory, it goes back to the people who created the country, the founding fathers, who put in the Constitution in the Second Amendment that every citizen has the right to keep and bear arms,
Mm-hmm.
arms meaning weapons. And so now this is considered to be one of the most important rights that makes us Americans. This then is the purpose of having a gun is seen in two ways. One would be to protect yourself against criminals. There's a lot of emphasis on being independent and being able to protect your family. And the other is to protect yourself against the government. Yeah.
Like against police?
Yeah.
Or?
Yeah. Because the founding fathers believed that it was important for the citizens to own weapons so that the government could not become a dictatorship and force the people to do what they wanted. So as long as all the people have guns and there's a chance that the people could rise up and overthrow the government, it means that the government would be afraid of the people.
So which a little bit sounds like if everybody has a gun, then there's always freedom.
That is exactly the idea. That's the logic. If everyone has guns, then everyone will stay free.
Okay.
It's possible. Now, it's not that simple because the laws for these kinds of things depend on the state.
Yeah,
that's what I thought. In most states, you have to prove that your life was definitely in danger and that you shot in self-defense and you had no other choice. If you can prove that, or if, let's say, if the judge accepts that explanation, then yeah. Which means this is why, like, jumping over a fence in the US
the middle of night
is something much more serious than doing it in Europe. That is for sure. Remember that, because it's true. There are a lot more guns in the US than in most other countries, and things can get serious very quickly. People can make mistakes.
So it means the owner, if there's a robber and owner shot him and killed him, it's possible that the owner will be free.
It is very possible.
Very possible.
It's not guaranteed, for sure, but it's possible.
And it depends on state, probably.
Yes.
Too. Okay.
And a lot of the circumstances. Like
that's scary.
Yeah, it is. Now, the people on the other side would say, well, if someone is breaking into my house, why shouldn't I have the right to protect my family?
Yeah.
Thank you for watching. Feel free to give any comments you want. I'm sure this will be a controversial subject because it always is. Thanks for watching.